Hello.
Hello.
We're all sitting there just awkward. Who's going to say hi first?
We were waiting. We all sit together.
I'm just trying to share this out.
Oh, bye. Get to my job.
Cheer alike.
Go on, Dan. You talk amongst yourselves.
Right. Well, this evening, obviously, you guys watched last week. Sorry, I wasn't here last week. I was here, but I wasn't here. I was in Wales, and it was a nightmare trying to get reception from where I was. I was out in Falmouth, which is it's a beautiful place. It is a nightmare for reception. So if you ever go on there on holiday and you do a radio show, remember that. Right. So, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Simply Spooky. This evening, the Spooky crew are going to be talking about paganism. And,
Dan,
hello.
We're going to be talking about you.
Can we talk about me, apparently? All negativity, I'm sure. But we'll see how that unfolds as the show goes on.
Are you sure it's pagan and not peasant?
Might be peasantism. That's me, peasantism.
Peasant, you peasant, Dan.
I'm a peasant.
Peasant.
I look like a very well-fed peasant.
And that's a person that's got ginger hair. Think straight, Lois.
Oh, what's happened here?
Oh, there's a black cat next to you, Viv.
Yeah, I'll put him on timeout, but he's being naughty tonight. No, poor Johnny Puss at all.
Poor old Johnny Puss is a pagan.
He's dribbling. He's got the dribble. He's dribbling today for some strange reason.
Dribbles. Right, good evening, everybody. If you want to say hi in the chat so we know that you're there, we can see that there are 3 people watching at the moment. But yeah, just say hi so that we know that we're sort of reaching you, and that would be great. Otherwise, we're talking to the ether. Right, so Viv, how are you? I'm going to start off by asking how everybody's been this week.
I've been okay. So far, I mean, what? This weekend I was in London. I was in the Royal Borough of Maidenhead with number 1 son. And we just messed about on the river. I had a really, really lovely time. So,
very nice. Hi, Mort.
Hello, Mort from Connecticut. Wow.
Hey.
So I've just been messing about on the river and visiting my firstborn son, who's not a baby anymore. He's a grown man, but it's always nice to go and spend time with the children. However old they are, they will always be my
your
babies.
kids. Exactly.
Yeah.
It never changes. So you've had a nice time then?
I have.
Perfect. What about you guys down below? Parker, Lois, how's your week been?
Busy work. That's all I've done. Work.
Yeah. You look like you've had a shave for. Did you have a shave for tonight?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go then.
Yeah.
Wow. And Lois, how are you this evening?
All good. All good here.
Excellent. That's just that was short and sweet.
He made himself look fresh for Lois. That's what it was.
Oh, yeah.
No for me. Hey, my mum's up in that corner. Up that corner.
It's the ginger hair that does it for me.
Oh.
I'll tell you what. I'll set you up with one of my pals. It's fine. But on the condition that you bring Dan with you.
Well, let's do it. Let's do it.
So tonight we're going to be talking about pagans, Dan.
We are talking about pagans.
Firstly, what is a pagan?
Well, a pagan really is an umbrella term for any other religion than your sort of Judaic-Abrahamic religion. So it's anything that falls under, anything that comes under anything different. But paganism to me is a representation of the ancients. So it's an ancient religion. And pagan, I think it means country dweller. So obviously the origins of it are from the countryside originally.
Right.
I think irrespective of where it came from. But the word pagan means country dweller. So, and there's different terms of pagans. Obviously, different pagans celebrate different things, and they've got different, pretty much the same belief system. So, for me, paganism is one of the old ancient religions, and to me, my belief is that I'm pantheist. So, I believe that the
Hi, Debbie.
I believe that the holy deity, as it were, is within nature. So, everything within nature is a representation of the holy deity, and holds holds the energy within it. So
Right.
I'm a pantheist. I'm pantheism. So, but there are other sort of lineages or lines of the religion, but they all sort of celebrate the ancient ones. Some have a multitude of gods. Some have pantheons, and others might have a single god. For me, it would be my representation of deity would be something like the Green Man or Kernunos or Herne the Hunter, as it were.
Yeah.
Many different names, but a representation of one deity. And also for me, it would be Mother Earth would be Gaia, or she would be the goddess to me. So
So
that.
hi, Jeanette.
Hi, Jeanette.
Not all pagans. Not all pagans are witches. Is it not all Wiccans or pagans?
No,
It's
but
Wiccans.
Wiccans is a form. Well, you know more about that, Lois, because you. I think
It's no. I think it's no all Wiccans are witches. No all witches are Wiccan.
Is
But
that
a
the
lot
same with pagans as well?
Well, a
witches
lot of
be
things.
pagans. I know.
I think a lot of things. I'll let Lois answer this in a minute. But I think a lot of the things with witchcraft is if you go back long ago, if you go back centuries ago, particularly in this country, there were a lot of people that were pagans and witches still celebrated the Christianity. They still believed in a Christ God or a Christ figure. So it's I don't know. It's an intricate one, but
Because witches can be pagans, though, can't they?
oh yeah.
And not necessarily Wiccan.
I think Wiccan is Wiccan is sort of Gerald Gardner, wasn't it? He was one of
Yeah.
the early. He was one of the people that put the Wiccan religion together. But it's like an updated modern version of witchcraft, I think. But it comes under the umbrella of paganism. So I think Wiccans are pagan, but to be a witch, you don't have to be. You can be Christian in your origins and still practice witchcraft.
Believe it or not, there is a lot of Christian witches out there. You would be very surprised, actually, how many. Because any groups like that, I'm always curious, right? I'm curious about everything. My brain goes at 1,000 miles per hour, right? So if I'm ever on the hooter firing 100 questions at you, do I apologise? But I do, I'm intrigued by what a Christian witch was. So I asked in the group, obviously, what is a Christian witch? Is it a person that believes in witchcraft, believes in God in the same token? I says, it's because I'm curious, because obviously when a lot of people are talking and you hear Christian witch, it's not something that I would... It's not usually something... It's not usually...
Hi, Jax!
Hi, Jack.
Hey, Jax. Hey, Emma. Hey, Charles. It's not something that you would usually find
Hi,
in the
Charles.
same
Hi,
sentence
Charles.
as Christian and witch. So it's an interesting one. It's really an interesting one.
It is. I think if you go to the Witchcraft Museum of Witchcraft in Boscastle, you find that there's sort of there's literature and stuff appertaining to witchcraft and Christianity there. Because I mean, a lot of the women years ago, centuries ago, that practiced witchcraft, a lot of the healers and that, they were still sort of Christian in their origins. They still had sort of a strong Christian faith and belief system. But I guess going back thousands of years, then those people would have been pagans in their original form. So it's like anything, isn't it? Lots of religions borrow from each other anyway, don't they? So they sort of cross each other at different points anyway. You know, I've got nothing against Christianity or Christians, absolutely nothing at all. You know, but I mean, I was sort of born and brought up one, but turned to paganism when I realised that was the one that fitted me better. But as the witch said to me once, a friend of mine who's she's what they call a hereditary witch, so it goes back in her family for quite some time. And she said to me, it doesn't matter what religion you follow, what belief system you follow, these are all different paths to the same end.
Yeah.
And
so it's just what path you're comfortable with.
Then you burn 5 logs or something, didn't you, with a candle?
5 logs with a candle?
Yeah, you have 5 logs like in a circle, and you burn a candle for some.
Is that witchcraft?
Oh, was it?
I don't know. It sounds like witchcraft.
I don't know, mate. I just.
So Jack says, I'm so interested in paganism. We went to Daninos Den not long ago. Absolutely amazingly beautiful, spooky atmosphere in place. It's an interesting subject, Jack. It is an interesting subject, and it's one that keeps on giving. There's so many different. I was saying so many different lineages of paganism, so many different sort of routes and sort of in ways and byways to it that people can even tweak paganism. Some people introduce things like Buddhism into their paganism.
Yeah.
So it all depends on how you feel comfortable.
Here's a silly question for you. Does voodoo and voodooism, can that sort of fit into a paganism umbrella? I know it's a different country and they do a different thing, but could it fit under that same umbrella, do you think?
Well, I would think so, because there's a lot of voodoo. Like, I mean, you've got Santeria and stuff like that, haven't you? Which has got a strong. It's got, I think it's got like a strong Christian basis in it, isn't it?
Yeah.
So a lot of it is, there are, like, voodooism itself comes from sort of forms of Christianity, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So it's like ancient ritual magic, folk magic. So it's basically ancient from peoples in Africa, going back centuries and centuries, thousands of years. And it's the same with us over here. I mean, they're called, years ago, they used to be called cunning men or cunning folk.
Yeah,
and that was a male witch, if you like. That was a guy that would practice magic. And but they were all, inherently, it seems they were country people. But then hundreds of years ago, everywhere was the countryside anyway. So, maybe that's got something to do with it. But yeah, it's interesting.
Do you think paganism was a religion as a whole that was more popular in places like Europe rather than the far out reaches of the world? Is it more of a European thing?
I think any ancient religion that has got deities in it, I think, is a form of paganism, irrespective of where it comes from on the planet. It's all folk religions, folk beliefs. So I think that's the origins of it, irrespective of where it comes from. But paganism, I say, for me, is the ancients. So for me, it would be, as I say, Cernunnos, the Green Man, which is the same representation, Herne the Hunter, and it would also be people would call it today Robin Hood, the Green Man, or the Man of the Wood. So yeah,
he was a nasty person, that Robin Hood.
Thieving bastard. That was his brother.
Yeah, they say he used to thieve from the rich and give to the poor, which is not exactly true. He was just a thieving, horrible, nasty little man. It was a criminal, basically.
They all were, weren't they? They all were. They all were.
It progressed from being Robin Hood to Dick Turpin, didn't it? So he had all some gun.
They've always romanticised the villains and criminals, haven't they? But they've, for the wrong reason a lot of the time. I just have a problem with the fact that a Christian is told they can go to church, repent your sins, and be forgiven. So essentially, the church could have murdered someone else. Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
I don't. As my mum used to say, Chantal, and she was an ardent Christian. She was Catholic and Roman Catholic, and she used to say that with the priest concerned, it's not a man's right to tell another man that he can be forgiven for a crime he's committed. Only God can do that. So, they call themselves representatives of God, but you're not representing God, you're not God.
Charles says, I don't believe in any labels.
Yeah, fair enough, Charles. Fair enough.
A lot of people that does that don't believe in labels. Like, they want, it's quite a complicated one, because you get some people, right, that's into witchcraft, pagan, right, that don't like the terminology when people come in and say that they're baby witches. That absolutely drives them to a rag taboo. And then you've got other ones that will come in and you refer to a male, regardless of what they are. Hi, I'm Marianne.
Hi, Marianne. Hope you're well.
The word being called warlocks or wizards, it drives, like, my good friend off his rocker when people say, "Oh, you're a warlock or a wizard."
There's no such thing as warlock.
Well, do you know what? The word warlock actually is an ancient Scottish word, and it means oathbreaker.
Yeah.
So it's somebody. So when you call somebody a warlock, it's an insult, because it means they're an oathbreaker. It means that they've reneged on their oath. They're not to be trusted.
It's a bit like me calling Dan a dirty heathen.
My mum called me all the time, dirty heathen.
Yeah, you dirty heathen.
Dan,
hi, Robin.
Is Druids and Pagan the same, or is that two entirely different?
They were pagans, yeah. The Druids were pagans, yeah. I mean, they were. But then, as I say, like paganism, sort of catch-all umbrella term for the ancient religions and anything that doesn't come under Judeo-Christianity. But then, as we said earlier, Judeo-Christianity can be a mix of it. So it can be part and parcel of it. I mean, a lot of pagans wouldn't recognise me as pagan for the simple reason that they say, well, you don't do magic, or you don't do this, or you don't do that. And I say, well, no, I don't. But it doesn't stop me being pagan.
Exactly.
I can still represent myself as a pagan without having to do all of that stuff. You don't have to do all that stuff, you know.
No, it makes me laugh. They seem to think, right, and this is just a wee bit of a bugbear that I've got, that you've got to look necessarily like they have this conception that witches wear hats and long black dresses, have the long nose and the broom, and you're just like, no, that's not how it works.
No, and they forget the origins of it. Like the hat itself, the coned hat is a representation of the cone of power. So that is the pyramid of power, the cone of power that witches can funnel their energies through.
Or a dunce hat.
A big D on it. And the broom is for sweeping. So you sweep the sacred circle or wherever you're going to practice. Like the old women years ago, before they did anything, they would sweep out the house. They would use the besom to sweep the house out, and then they would
traditions,
their meditation. Yeah. It's just tradition, yeah.
Which is why I turned to my religion, which and again, people tend to label my religion because they see Hollywood and they think it is what Hollywood predicts. But they have varying degrees of my religion. But I am a Satanist, where I take responsibility for my own actions. So I'm not going to ask a man in a church wearing a dress and a cross for forgiveness because I've done something. I take responsibility for my own actions and how I act towards my fellow man and woman.
See, that's why I love Satanism, because Satanism promotes you to be yourself and to find yourself, and not a lot of many people see that. What a lot of people see when it comes to Satanism, or go into this one event, right? But what people most see with Satanism is that it's a bad thing, and again, that comes down to social media, films, the full shebang. And as I said a million times before, and I'll say to him blue in the face, somebody can do something and automatically it's labelled as Satanism. Well, no, it's not Satanism, it's evil bastards.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It is interesting.
There's more slaughter created in the name of Christianity than there's anything else, isn't there? Or those religions.
I thought that was just the Catholic Church.
Do you know what? I think, like, in all defence of the Catholic Church, it's not as strict as it used to be. Like, I used to have members of the family that were devout Catholics, and she would go to church 4 times a week because it was deemed necessary, with the big one being on Sunday. And the priest used to come to the house and have tea with the family in the house, which I thought was really weird, until he found out that I was a medium. He used to come up to my flat and ask me to give him readings, which I thought was, he was a very old Irish man who would say, oh, have you got your tarot cards? Get your tarot cards. We'll have a tarot reading this week. Next week, I want this kind of a reading. And he was well into it. But he did say to me, never, ever discuss what we do in here outside of this flat, because he had this sort of image to uphold, I suppose. But it just showed me how much the Catholic Church, they don't have the power that they used to once upon a time. They are still a very powerful religion, but I think they sort of are moving with the times a bit more. Would you reckon about that, Dan?
I think they're still ardent, Viv. I think they're still hardcore. They're still hardcore. I think there's a lot. But to be fair, that's their religion, and that's their. I mean, I don't consider myself one of them anymore. That's their religion, and that's their right to consider themselves. Yeah. And I don't think it's anybody else's right to try to incorporate their belief system on them. And so,
no,
there's a lot of things that's happening in the Church of England now. I'm not Church of England. Quite a few of my family are.
I grew up Church of England. Yeah.
So did I. A lot of that happening in the Church of England that I don't agree with. And I think what it's done is it's undermined the whole structure of the Church of England. And now the Church of England, half the fucking vicars don't even believe in God.
Yeah,
And that's a fact.
true. That's true.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that I foresee something happening very soon. That's
Oh, she's cute.
She's very cute.
Yeah,
something happening very soon. That's going to be sort of catastrophic, I would think, for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Birds can't roost and what have you. But yeah,
the lizard men are coming.
It's well, I think that morality, irrespective of your beliefs and what have you, I think the morality has been lost in this world.
Yeah.
And I think that it's turned into a bit of a fucking cesspit, pardon my French. It's been turned into a bit of a cesspit, and somebody's got to give. But yeah.
Oh, thank you, Von. I know. Oh,
thanks,
she's talking about me. She's talking about me and Lois.
She is. That's the sort of thing I want to rip my hair out and do the L'Oreal advert.
Just keep it in the bun.
Yeah, the same with me, Jeanette, and the Catholic Church. The same thing.
Oh, hang on. Yeah.
But
yeah, thanks, Annette. I think it will.
I mean, do you think it's just because, obviously, you know, when I was younger, I was sent to a Catholic school, and I think, like, when I grew up, I kind of thought to myself, well, what's the whole point of humanity if we're going to get to the very end and they're just going to pull the plug?
I know. I know.
And then it came down to the whole, I challenged it in the sense of, well, actually, let's look at Satanism, let's look at, Catholicism. They've actually killed more people than Satanism. But Satanism is the bad one. It's like, how does that work?
The church has always said that, my mum used to always say as well, God gives you freedom of choice, so you do with that what you do with it. That's what God gives it to you, so that you make your own decisions, your own choice based on your beliefs and what have you. So that's great, but then the Catholic Church says, or Church of England, whoever, oh no, you shouldn't, irrespective of what you believe, you should follow us and believe this and do this. Well, hang on, what happened to that freedom of choice God gave me? Now you're telling me that I haven't got freedom of choice. I'm sorry, I won't believe anything that man puts down.
But I think in history, because we were governed, like our kings and queens of our countries and things didn't govern our lands. It was the religious I don't know what you would call them, the religious pious people at the time, whether they be Catholics or the king, like Henry VIII. I mean, love him or hate him, he took away Catholicism in our country and replaced it with the Church of England. Well, we have the both to today now, but there was always battles between Catholics and you know, that still goes on today and across many countries. But you know, I think we have grown as a people where they don't hold the power in our countries anymore. It's our governments and idiots that sit in the House of Commons over here.
I think it's always been them, Viv. I think they've used the church as a way of battering people down. Do you think the Normans came over here, right? When the Normans came over here 2,000 years ago, they built churches. And then they took up the land, they parceled it up, and then they got serfs to work the land. And they and what they did, for you to keep your land or for you to keep them with them, you had to go to church on a Sunday.
Yeah.
And what did they do? They sat you right down below your peer, below your what they call betters. So they could look down upon you, make sure you're all there, and if you weren't there, what are you doing? What are you up to? Why weren't you there? And it was all about dictating to you how you should do what's right by your lord. You should do what's right by your squire. You've got to do this for your squire. It's the honourable thing to do. Nothing about that the squire was a piece of shit who didn't do anything for his workers. It was always the other way around. They've always used the church as a way to batter the poor. I think Karl Marx, who turned around and said that, what was it he said? That religion is the opium of the working classes. So it's there to
that's true.
Up. So they keep you drugged up and not arguing.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true, Ronnie. That's true.
I think they've got to a point, right? I think now this is conspiracy and it is going off a bit. I think that those that are in power have got to a point where they don't need the church to keep you under control now because they can do it with technology. So they can do it by removing things like cash. So then everything, all your identity, all your information, everything you do, if you fart in the wrong place, you're going to know it because it's become a world of cameras and cash. Sorry, cameras and card, no cash anymore. So they can freeze your movements. They can see what you're doing with your money. They can see how you spend it. They can dictate to you what you do with it. And they're getting to a point where you can't buy from main. There's going to be no high streets anymore. We've seen the demise of the high streets. They've already more or less closed them down. It's charity shops and hairdressers now, let's be honest. And the thing is, because the hairdressers, you can't get that done online, can you?
No.
You know? But it's going to be things like Jeff Bezos, like BlackRock in America, who own the world. People said to me, I was talking to a guy, a bit of a running with a guy, a friend of mine, a little recently, about Bill Gates. And my idea was Bill Gates is a nasty piece of work. He's an evil individual that wants to basically run the world. He's a dictator, and he's all part of the World Economic Forum. And the thing with Bill Gates is that Bill Gates is buying up parcels of land everywhere, not just him, but BlackRock are as well. Guy told me yesterday, a friend of mine who I trust, and he's a very good businessman. He told me yesterday that BlackRock own most of the planet now. Every business that is larger than a high street store, BlackRock have got the lion's share. Not just the business in this country, globally. They own everything. They don't need the church to keep you down now. They can do it with technology. And that's what they've always aimed for, to dictate terms to you, to have people that are there to work for them, slaves, if you like, in another, you know, and that's what it is.
And it says at some point, all good men are going to have to stand shoulder to shoulder, no matter what religion they are. The world has gone to hell, and no government is interested in changing a damn thing.
No. And what do? They use things like race. They use things like BLM. They use things like LGBT, because what people can't see is those are divisive. Those things separate us. They don't bring us together. And it shouldn't be about what colour you are. It shouldn't be about whether you're gay or not. It should be about whether you're an ordinary person and you need to survive in this world, because we need each other. And we're going to need each other a lot more very soon.
And Andy Roberts says Big Brother is no novel.
No, and I keep telling people 1984 was meant as a novel, but the government today are using it as a book to run the world by.
The governments and religions do not want communities; they want people against each other.
Exactly. It's not, while people are concentrating on each other's colour and each other's sexuality, what are we doing? We're dividing each other. Which is that's why they've thrown it like the transgenders into it, haven't they? It's it's confusing.
Dan, the Rebel Alliance starts at the hairdressers and the barbers.
Well, it does. It probably will, Andy.
Yeah. You and me, Dan, are totally on the same page.
Exactly.
They don't want us standing together.
No.
100%, Dan. Agree. So, Dan,
I'd just like to say, if I'm found dead, I did not kill myself.
No, I did it.
Whoa, you can't kill me yet. You've got to wait to the night before I've been on a date with him, and then...
So, do you think, like, with pagans, let's go back to pagans.
Yes.
I want to talk about Pete the Bogman, right?
Pete the Bogman, yeah. I think I'll see him once in a museum.
Right, so for people that don't know who Pete the Bogman is, do you know who he is?
No.
Dan, tell him who Pete the Bogman is.
He was a bloke that they found wasn't it that the bog had given him up, hadn't it? I think after so many thousands of years, hadn't it? He had
a mummified man,
and it had mummified him. And they saw that he was a sacrifice, didn't they? Because he had a rope round his neck, and I think he had a hole in his body somewhere, didn't he? And they
But
said that
they mummified his skin was intact.
His skin.
And
They've got him in a
he was-
case at London British Museum, I think, Viv. They did.
So he was a sacrifice. So these pagans, right, go back to the pagans. It wasn't all sweetness and light. They were quite brutal with one another, with sacrifices and things that they did to their gods and deities.
Absolutely.
So we're finding archaeological evidence and proof that they did certain things and rituals to appease their gods. They had a good harvest or whatever. Wasn't Pete the Bogman something to do with tobacco? Or have I got that?
No, I think you were. No, I think you were, actually. I think you're right, actually, but I can't quite remember. I do remember it was something to do with tobacco, but I can't remember what it... Oh, he was a news agent, wasn't he? No, I do remember it was. You're right. It was something to do with tobacco, Viv.
Was it they either gave tobacco or they were wanting to harvest tobacco, or
It was something to do with tobacco. Didn't they kill him and put tobacco on him or in him or something? Or on I can't remember now, but it was something to do with tobacco. You're right. But that's the thing is, a lot of people got this idea today that paganism is holding hands and, you know, singing around standing stones, which to a degree always has been, I guess. But years ago, you only would dance around the standing stones, but you probably sacrifice somebody on one of the altars.
Bonch's just never heard of Pete.
Never heard of Pete. Oh, it's an interesting subject.
You should go and see Pete.
That's it, Pete Marsh.
Pete Marsh.
Pete Marsh, that was him.
It's the same as people think as witches dance
It's
naked
interesting, isn't it?
in the forest.
What's that?
It's the same as everybody thinks that we dance naked under a full moon in witches.
Do you know what? Some of them do. Some round here, when they're doing some spell or ritual or something, it calls for them to go skyclad, and they think it gives them extra. It's the women and the men. The men do it as well. Dance around the fire.
He's a very nice guy, actually. Lovely guy. He was a headmaster. Really nice guy, though. Very, very intelligent. He was a Satanist. But he used to... I used to go around for coffee with him now and again because I got quite friendly with him. And he used to run through the forest in Epping. And he used to be sky-clad. And all he'd be wearing would be a horned god mask. So he'd have like antlers, the horned mask made out of leather and leaves. Fucking terrifying if you saw him. And he would run through the forest sky-clad. And he said that it gave him an energy. But he was the one that sat down and taught me about the sun and how the sun is Satan. And that's the representation of he's God. He's got the sun, the God of Satan. It's the heat that warms up the world, that creates the... You know, so but very, very clever man and very nice guy. And even though he sounds wacky, he was on the ball. Very, very clever.
I'm sure they wouldn't.
I think I would do that.
Do you know what, Dan? There was and Lois and Parker. There was a famous comedian that loved to, at the end of his show, if he was out on the road, he would take all his clothes off and he would run through a field naked. You never see his willy and things like that, but you'd see his bottom, and he'd put his hands down in the long grass and he'd run. And there is something to be said. I mean, maybe this is just me, but if you can strip naked and just run in nature, it does energize you. It does give you a power, because you're getting rid of all this stuff and you're just being free. And some people say it energizes them.
And you probably love it as well. Like a lot of people
skinny dipping.
But even if you're not pagan, right? This is what I always say. Everybody's got the origins of paganism in their soul, because there's nothing quite like, even people that haven't thought about paganism. I like to take my shoes off and dip them in the sea. I like to take my shoes off and walk on the sand. I like to take my shoes off and walk across the field, a field that's damp, you know, because it's that almost becoming back one with nature.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's feeling excited at your connection with the land, with the earth.
I'm not laughing at you, Dan, but Bonnie.
You're the first one to do
my eye. Bonnie. She's caught my eye.
Do you know what they're laughing at, Parker? That's you.
Nice.
That's your nickname. We something. Kerr.
Can I say it? I'll say it tomorrow, right? I'll say it
Yeah,
after the
I've seen
show.
that as a night out when some bloke run through the bus queue.
But I'm not saying that everyone should go naked and get nicked for indecent exposure. But we all have our times, you know, whether it's sleeping naked in bed or, you know, it I don't know. It just
It's freedom, isn't it?
energizes me. Yeah,
Freedom,
basically.
isn't it? It's like, you know, kids don't like wearing shoes or socks, do they? They always run around. They want their feet close to the earth and stuff. And maybe there's something of that in it. You know, maybe that's something that we lose as we get older, or maybe we don't.
Our little Darren wants to run around in just his nappy.
Oh, God love him.
I've got to take my work boots off. You've reminded me.
Take your boots off. Chillax.
It's just cloud of green smoke now.
Yeah. I love you too.
Oh.
He's knackered, Von. He's had a hard week.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
But I totally agree, Ronnie. It's like taking your bra off. It's the best
It must
feeling
be
in the world.
yeah.
Oh, as soon as you get in the door, you're unclipping this and just taking it off.
I know I am.
Do you know what makes me laugh is when you take your bra off and all the crumbs of the day fall out on the floor. Because all the crumbs go down your top and sit in your bra.
I've got to say I'm guilty for that one.
I'll tell you what, I shouldn't have to put you off of women. Right. Go back, I'll be throwing their clothes off, stop them for starting school. Yeah, the kids, Jeanette. It's, you know, it's that connection, I think.
Oh, bless him. He does look knackered.
He's knackered, aren't you, mate?
I am, mate, yeah.
He's looking quite handsome today, to be honest. He's made an effort for us all.
Well, I know Lois.
I haven't noticed.
You've not noticed. I noticed, Jay.
I know you did, darling. Thank you.
Yeah, he's desperate to call me. I see you next Tuesday. You could just see me.
I'm not going down to your level.
Good lad. Von says he always looks handsome. But we are gearing up to behind the scenes to. Oh yeah, we got some news today. Ooh. Dan, do you want to tell everyone, Dan?
The news.
Dan's
what one? What one?
It's forgotten.
Viv won the lottery.
Yeah.
I wish.
So begging letters, send them to.
Yeah.
No, we opened up.
I've already filled mine out.
Simply Spooky events page. So we're doing events now.
Yes, we are. We are going to be doing events now. We've got the events. Viv's been working in the background, and she's got the events page up and running. And I think she's invited you, Von.
Yeah.
She's invited a few people. So what we're going to be doing events. We're going to do one free one a year as a thank you to our patrons, those that come along with us throughout the year. It's not clear how many we're going to be doing each year, but we will be doing more than a fair few, won't we, Viv? I would imagine. I
think we're looking about at least maybe one a month. See how it goes.
Yeah, there will be some that you can get to, Von. I'm sure.
Yeah,
it will be. There definitely will be, because we're not just looking about doing them locally. We're going to be doing them sort of nationally, as it were, aren't we? So
up and down the country,
nationwide.
and because I work for a certain individual, hopefully we'll try and get him to attend a couple of the events as well, or maybe do something as a collaboration with him. So there's lots and lots coming in, and I know that there is talk of a tour bus going up, and he wants to take it to Scotland. Ooh. So I think we're just going to pop in at Lois's house and do tea round Lois's.
Just a coach load of us.
Yeah.
That's right. I'll be like all these tourists coming off of the camera, like.
She'll jump on the coach. She'll say, "Come on, give me a lift. I got to go to work."
It'll be more like throw my stuff on, and I'll be like, Shh, I'm not here. He's coming to England.
Hide you in the back seat.
But yes, so that's gonna be a lot of fun, isn't it? Right, I think it's gonna be lots
Yeah.
of fun. So we have got, yes, we've got a fair few of those coming up, and we're working towards other things. It's been a bit of a
Yes.
non-starter this year, what with broken ankles and God knows what.
Yeah, it's your fault, Dan.
It's all my fault. I take full responsibility for it. But we're you know, summer term's coming to an end, so we can get back into the driving seat again and get this sorted out. In fact, I'm meeting up with Viv at some point this week because we will be going live and making a proper announcement on through Simply Spooky. I think Viv, you will be counted in, Von. You, as always, you are counted in. Consider yourself counted in.
We got some big things coming in, hopefully for next year. Maybe Brian Kano. We might have him.
Your boss?
No, Richard. Yeah, my boss. Not Dan. Dan's not my boss.
No, I'm nobody's boss. Nobody's boss, me.
I'm his boss.
I couldn't run a tap.
Couldn't run a bar.
Couldn't run a bar.
And Vivian, my boss.
So so there's lots and lots, and plus we want to get up at some point to get up to Lois and encourage her to come down and spend some time with us, like with the family. So
We'll have to build walls more.
Oh, thank you, Von.
Oh, thanks, Von. That's lovely of you.
That's really appreciated. Yeah, we'll let you know. Definitely.
We can do with money, Von.
She's going to regret saying that now. You watch.
Yeah.
So that's coming in with hopefully the year after there'll be something big, but we can't say anything right now.
No. We're not going to be doing any pissy little things. We're going to be doing proper big things. So yeah.
Big.
As
big as Dan's head, because he's
it's going to be a 6-month solid tour of ghost hunt.
6 months you need to take off work.
6 months you got to take off work. It'll be the biggest fucking paranormal hangover that any of you have ever had in a lifetime. A few of you won't make it, but we will remember you on the day it finishes.
You're terrible. So come on, pagans, their sacrifices. We were talking a little bit about Pete. Was there any others or any other sacrificial stuff that you know about?
What I've always said to people, if you want to find out, get a taste of what the real pagans were like, about the originals, then have a good look at the Wicker Man, because that will give you some idea of the way that they used to sacrifice people, build a first. They used to build obviously these great big wicker men and fill them with animals and people, and then just set light to them, and that would be your sacrifice.
But was that also like the villains, like rather than put them for execution, they'd chuck them in there and burn them?
I think it's anybody who was a ne'er-do-well. Yeah, I think it was people that they felt that would fit the ticket, as it were, really. But obviously, a lot of it's beyond the curtains of time. So it's just bits and pieces of information that the archaeologists are picking up, and they're building up this picture of what they used to do. But then they're finding out, archaeologists to find out that ancient man was a lot more advanced than we gave him credit for.
Yeah.
And in some instances, a lot more advanced than we are today. And they're forward thinking more so than we are.
Where I live, Dan, I think it's in February, they have a big festival and they call it the Straw Bear, where there's a man that he looks like the bloody Wicker Man. Sorry, I should have swore then. With all his straw everywhere, you can't even see his face, and he does the parade and he walks through. And I look at that and I think, when the kids come out and see it, they must be horrified.
Well, yeah,
scary
these
looking.
are old ancient pagan traditions, aren't they? I know a lot of people have said, well, you know what, Morris dancing hasn't really got anything to do with paganism. But there is a very strong factor that, there is. A lot of those dances, there's one called the pagan team around here somewhere called Wicked Brood. And they're over in St Albans. And to look at them, they're your archetypal pagans. they've got like a black face. They wear dark clothing with sort of raven feathers, and I mean they're quite.
Yeah, I've seen
Yeah.
that.
With purple, and it's quite a terrifying thing to look at. I mean, they're very
Yeah.
good. But you know, there's a guy in it, there's a little guy in it who's very good. I think he's a Filipino fella. But you know, but it just goes to show you that it's there for everybody. It's not just, even though it's entrenched in the culture of England,
So why?
it's there for everybody. And you've got to look at African dancing.
Yes.
That's a lot of that similar, isn't it? In the sense, the timing and the way that you know
That's how Jamie dances.
That is how Jamie dances. That's how he goes in a nightclub.
After a few beers, he's in the nightclub and he's dancing.
I thought he danced like this.
That's Dan doing his dad dancing.
I used to dance like that, but I haven't got rhythm anymore, so now it's just like this.
Is it one of these? You do like all this. It's like that's
I've
Dan
got
dancing.
the least rhythm of anybody you've ever seen in your life, I guarantee you. I'm shit. Pardon my French, I'm awful. I've got the worst rhythm. I'm terrible, no rhythm whatsoever.
But it's funny because you mentioned the Morris man. I've seen what they call themselves the chimney sweep Morris dancers.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're allowed to do it anymore, but they would blacken their faces like chimney sweeps.
Yeah. Well, we used to have another old tradition was the chimney sweep over here. I mean, maybe not pagan, but the origins of it was people used to have them at a wedding. Do you remember, Viv?
Yes.
Yeah.
At the wedding.
And he could kiss the bride, but now the chimney sweep's not allowed to have the black your face up.
Shut his face.
Because it's not got anything to do with. The annoying thing is black people don't care. I've got mates that are black and they don't care that people black. No. I don't care if a black bloke puts a white face. I'm not bothered. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, that's true.
It would.
Hey, that's the events page. We haven't got any events up yet.
Ah, perfect. But that's the one.
But we will be doing it soon.
It's all right. When Monday comes, I'll have it banged out.
Cool. Yeah, good woman. But that's the thing. I think we need to be careful that we don't lose these little things, because you lose your identity, don't you? And when your identity's gone, what have you got? This is something I discussed with somebody the other day. It's about the older you get, the more you want to find about the origins of your family. And I said, yeah, but not just your family. You want to find the origins about your heritage. No matter where you come from, you want to find the origins of your heritage. And they said, why would that matter to you? And I said, well, the same reason it matters to anybody. It gives you a form of belonging and identity. So it gives you're rooted in something. Otherwise, you're just floating around and you're not, you know.
When in the Sikh tradition, I think when there's a death in the family, they would put the pair of shoes of the deceased by the front door, outside the front door.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Today, you couldn't really do that so much because somebody come along and nick the shoes because they want a pair of shoes.
And there's things that people don't hear of, you know. Sorry, Viv, go on.
People just don't have any respect for anybody anymore. They're all sort of for themselves.
You know, little things that people don't think of. I mean, there's a I think it was a Jewish one that never, when you in your bedroom, never have your bed facing the door.
No.
Because if your foot of your bed is facing the door, you'll be carried out from that room dead.
Yeah.
That type of thing, you know. I mean, this is a Jewish one, so it's not actually English in its origins. But these type of things, we don't really want to lose them. They're important, you know, because they make up not just a cultural identity, but sort of multicultural identity. These are things we don't want to lose.
I mean, it's like the mosque thing. I'm so naughty. I did laugh, but then I sort of felt bad afterwards. But somebody I know, with that, you know, the open gates, and then you got the open doors to the mosque. They ran in and threw a packet of bacon in it, ran away, and they shut the mosque down. They all went mad because they had to remove the bacon and But then somebody else said, I wanted to get a pig's head, but because you can't buy them in the butchers over here. So he just threw a packet of bacon in it. And I just thought, that is really naughty.
It's a bit naughty, isn't it?
It is naughty. But it did cause disruption, and it did go on the local news and stuff. But it's a bit.
Jeanette said, look, I had to stop having milk delivered. It got nicked every day.
That's bad. That is disgusting.
awful, isn't it? It's absolutely awful, isn't it? It's the way the world. I don't know. It's just, I don't know.
We just can't be nice to one another, you know. A little bit of love goes a long way. But then when your love gets shat on from a great height, I suppose, people get fed up of being nice people, don't they? So,
Well, I think another thing is that I think personally, and I think I still hold with it, kids should get a clump.
yes, agreed.
Get a clump.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I've seen it now. The parents that, when I was a kid, I was brought up and I was clumped and smacked and caned and by teachers and parents, like you were.
Or the local copper.
Or the local copper. I was terrified of the old Bill when I was a kid. Absolutely crap myself. I remember as a kid seeing them. We weren't doing anything wrong. They turned up in a panda car, and we crapped ourselves and run off. We weren't doing anything wrong, but we're that frightened of them. You know. And
Panda car. Get you in your panda car.
Exactly. I showed you how long ago it was. But the thing is that the kids now, they don't. There's no punishment, is there?
Do you know, I've been watching today with great interest. In 2018, a young lad called Nicholas Cruz walked into Parkside School and gunned down 17 people.
Oh, heartbreaking.
And that's in America. And today, I've been watching his trial, and he's pleaded guilty. And he said that he wants to make amends and he wants to help now. Too little, too late. I've been watching the trial because they're now deciding whether he'll get the death penalty or whether he'll get life in prison. I don't understand it. I'm looking at this boy. He was adopted. He had some issues growing up, apparently. But I look at this boy and I think, if the parents had slapped him from an earlier age, he may have had some sense knocked into him. I'm not saying abuse the boy, but, you know, just teach him right from wrong. And I think kids today, they get away with far too much. I mean, you know,
I think the problem lies in schools, Viv, because what schools teach them is, if your mum and dad put a finger on you, then that's abuse. And you have to report that. So what kids nowadays is that if you turn around and say to them, I'm going to put a foot right up your arse, they'll turn around and say to you, you can't, I have rights. That's abuse, I can get you done.
Yeah, I mean, we're creating our own society where it's okay to be horrible to people and even go one step further and start murdering people. I mean, this is done like mass murders in America, and I know William's watching. He will back me up. There are mass shootings in schools that go on like it's nothing. Like there's at least one a month, you know, and it's not. I don't think it's the schools. Yeah, I'm in agreement with him.
Well,
I don't think it's the schools.
Biggest one was in New Zealand, wasn't it?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
And do you know what? Evil is.
That I agree with that. Same here.
Yeah.
Parents they are lazy and they don't do the work, and I fully agree with that. Because it's the same here.
Evil's not inbred. Evil's taught and learned, and I think it starts with the children. And if you know you can't take control of your children, I don't think you should have them at all. But that's me.
I was always taught like to respect people.
So
if it's not yours, then you treat it like it is.
Yeah.
And by treating it like it is, I mean you look after it to the best of your ability.
I'm going to phone Mama Parker and say, Mama Parker, your boy keeps picking on me.
And that's the way round, isn't it?
I owe Jamie at least 5 big slaps now. At least 5.
Bond's right as well. I also think the family unit has changed. Too materialistic. Both parents working, parents not enough. Yeah, and I'll tell you what as well, and I'm not knocking it, but single parent families, not a great thing. And I'm not knocking it because I know a lot of people out there, you know, there's great single parent people with single parents bringing up kids, absolutely fantastic. But I think you need both parents there. I think you need that
Well,
equilibrium. Otherwise,
I think if the mother takes on the role of mum and dad, she needs to be strong. And I
don't think they can, Viv. I genuinely don't think they can. If you look at a lot of the backgrounds of the kids in America, they grow up without fathers, a lot of them.
Yeah.
And look at the state of it. Do you know what I mean? Not the state. I mean, look at the state of the kids. And that's
Same over here as well, to be fair.
You know, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with. There are a lot of single parent families out there that are fantastic.
Yeah, I think Charles is right. They need a big ass whooping, and the kids are too protected these days. You know,
They are.
Of course, social services on there.
Social services. You can't touch this kid. Do you know what? I used to get right clumps when I was a kid.
Yeah, so did I.
and it was fine.
Dan, one mass shooting a week.
Yeah, not surprised.
Wow, that's ridiculous.
Not surprised.
Why are governments not banning weapons? Is that the answer,
culture,
though?
Isn't it?
I mean,
don't think it is.
I don't.
I
the
don't.
gun thing is bad, but I don't think that's the answer. I think it's education, and parents need to take control of their kids. Seriously.
Do you know what my dad used to say to us as kids? And I remember always saying it to me. If I ever catch you selling drugs or stealing or anything like that, he went, make no mistake, I'll take you right round to the police station.
Thanks, William.
He would have. He would have taken us. No mistakes. It wasn't an empty threat. He would have taken us straight to the police station.
Yeah.
Because he was old military.
Yeah.
He was army. So he was brought up in an environment that was, I mean, he was poor when he was brought up. His
Do you know what?
You know,
Jax makes a point there, and she says about mental illness, etc., comes into play, which is nature. But you know what? I know families. I've seen it with my own eyes that claim mental illness or ADHD. There's nothing wrong with their kid. He's just a naughty boy that needs a slap.
Yeah,
but
naughty's not a mental health issue, is it?
No. Or they give their kids sweets, all these E numbers, and of course they're going to get a bit hyper. Oh, he's got ADHD. No, he's not. He's just a naughty boy. Give him a slap and send him to bed. No, you know, that's all he needs. And that winds me up, because I think you can get a government payout, can't you, Dan, for ADHD and stuff? I don't know.
What can't you get a government payout for now?
Listen, you can get a government payout, and this is one of the things. Like,
Your old school, though, you were brought up with parents that were strict with you, so you knew what you were doing. The trouble with the people today that are bringing up kids is they've come from backgrounds with no fathers in the family either.
That's true.
That's true, but I'm talking generally. I'm not talking just like individually or one bad parent. I'm talking generally. It's a proven thing. People without two parents that grow up, not always, because I'm not generalising, but I'm saying overall there's a lot of people that come from backgrounds that end up in prison that have generally only had one parent. You know what I'm on about, don't you?
Yes, I see it all the time, Dan.
You know,
some of their background is because they haven't got a father figure in their lives, so all they think it's right is taking drugs because they haven't got that man in their life to go, you can't do that.
Do you know? When my kids was younger, and Mark, he must have been about 4 or 5, and I used to say to him as kids, "What are you going to be when you grow up?" You know, and he'd change his mind all the time, and it was quite interesting to see what he had to say. But one time, a friend of mine said, "What are you going to do when you grow up, Mark? What are you going to be?" He said, "I'm going to be a yardie." I said, "No, you're not." I said, "I'll kick your ass and take you down the police station." Become a yardie.
Well, Lucas wants to be a vet.
Well, at least he don't want to be a yardie.
Nurture that, good.
But
where was all the ADHD?
Said because he wants to look after Bigfoot. That's why.
Oh, there you go.
When he's sick.
There might be a Bigfoot to look after when he's older.
Yeah. Where has all the ADHD suddenly come from? Additives in crap food. There is some genuine ADHD.
Jamaican
but there's far too much. Sorry,
I was just William asked what's the yardie. I said it's a Jamaican gangster.
Yeah.
They smoke weed apparently. big fat long spliffs.
I had a mate who was a yardie. He was a very nice fella actually. He was a lovely bloke.
Yeah. A lot of these parents have cried out for help, but their child and the system fails them. These children grow up and have the same issues now as an adult with the parents' control. Yeah, but we're not talking about those genuine cases. What we're talking about, these people that really don't care, they haven't got time, you know. Not the, what I think we call the real people with issues. We're talking about these ones that want to bleed society and then create monsters as a result of.
Do you know what I blame as well? And nobody's in the real world anymore. Everybody leaves college now, at school now, goes to university. When I was at school, nobody left school and went to university.
No, I didn't.
Everybody went into jobs in whatever, work for me dad or work for me mum, or I've got a job as a secretary, I've got a job doing this, or I've got a job at a local print. It was that. You went straight into work, you earned your money, and you fell into society, and you became a part of society, and you were working 5 days a week, 6 days a week, so you had no time to get up to nefarious things. But now what's happening? They're going into university, they're not coming into the real world till their 20s. They got no real concept of how the real world works. They're walking into jobs and they're fucking everything up. They're messing everything up. Sorry, they're messing everything up because they've got no real life.
William wants to be Ming.
Good. I'll vote. I'll be William's second in command.
Do you remember Ming? He was the Emperor of the Universe, the baddie.
Ming the Merciless, wasn't it?
Ming the Merciless. That's
Ming the Merciless. I used to love Flash Gordon, wasn't it?
Oh, Flash Gordon. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Jay can be Flash Gordon and go and beat Ming up.
Flash Git.
Flash Git and Ming.
Bend them up like a pretzel.
Bend them up like a pretzel, that'd be your saying.
Kids having kids never helped.
No.
Either. Yeah, that's true.
No, exactly.
Well, what's this thing? Anyway, what's anything of this got to do with paganism, Dan?
See, our talks never stay on the subject. We go.
I think, didn't we start out with paganism and people being taught lessons and people following a strict code, and then all of a sudden it's like kids don't follow strict codes anymore. Look at them.
Oh dear.
No, this is why I love this show. That's what ended up
amble all over the place.
Oh dear. Yes, I go in real cases. Jack says some horrific and some are genuine push back because nowadays any child that's not the surfaces and fallout just gets bigger and bigger. Yeah. And do you know what? I think they should bring back ball stalls.
Yeah, I do. Well, I don't.
Yeah.
But...
I never used to have approved schools as well, didn't they?
Yeah. The majority of staff under 21 and work ethic they have compared to what is brought up to have is shocking. Yeah. What is this?
I agree with Charles. I agree with that as well, actually. I think that's, I do agree with that. I think what it does is it undermines the whole family unit. That's the difference, William. You lived in the real world as well. Yeah. The kids today, they're not in the real world. They're straight in the university, straight on education. God knows what they're being taught, but it's not anything useful. And they're coming out and they're going into going into jobs that aren't really serving.
Yeah, but Dan, sometimes these kids today, where we haven't got the jobs, you have to have a university degree to stack shelves in Tesco's now.
Do you know what? I think it's backfired. I think it's backfired. I don't think the university degree is worth anything. I mean, unless you're going to use it in the field that you've got it, I don't think 90% of these degrees are worth anything.
No.
I mean, they're doing them in what they're doing them in now. They're doing them in social studies and like, how are you going to apply that in the real world?
Yeah.
It's like history and things.
Like that. I mean, history's great, but I mean, you know,
history, you can become a teacher, can't you?
My son, bless him, he's actually just finished another university degree with Oxford, but it was to do with his work and his work.
Yeah, but he's using these, isn't he?
Yeah, and the degrees. The degrees he went for at school, he applied them to the work that he does today.
Bye, Dan.
See you later, Dan.
Hello, lads.
Bastard, we bore him.
So yeah, he did apply it to the work that he had today, but he ended up with such a big debt. The debt was ridiculous. He did pay the debt off because he managed to land a very good job. that enabled him to do it. But a lot of kids today, they come out of university so poor because they've got this debt, and they spend the rest of half of their working life trying to repay all that back. But I think we get into the political side of things, really, which we just need to. Yes. Kids are not taught the subjects that are needed in the real world. True. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So, this paganism thing's turned around on its head. So we're not really talking about paganism anymore.
So what Dan's done is started the conversation, and the big bastard's fucked off.
Yeah, I bet he's run out of juice or something and hasn't plugged his thing in. That's tends to be Dan's little thing sometimes. Normally he's pretty good, but he's been away on holiday, isn't he? So he's got a holiday brain.
Don't make excuses up for him.
That's it, Parker.
That's him all the time, though, isn't it, Dan?
Yeah.
It's yeah, I agree. Agree helps broaden one's thinking and understanding and thinking more, and even if they don't use the D directly from their were good skills. No, that's definitely a very, very good point, William. 99p a pint, they were the days. I used to remember when you used to get a packet of 10 cigarettes. I think that's what encouraged me to smoke. You'd get a packet of 10 for about 50p from the shop.
5 and 6.
5 and 6.
Oh!
It was actually, I used to smoke. I used to go in the shop and ask for 10 number 6. Number 6, the cigarettes were called.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those were the days. But no, it's been an interesting
topic.
Subject.
Shall we do Jar of Doom while Dan's not
Yeah.
in?
Yeah. He'll probably come on in a minute.
I bet he'll come on when we go off. It'll be hilarious. Money on it. You'll be like,
here he
is.
Hello, sorry. I'm back. The kids have used the bloody thing up. Sorry.
Yeah,
we
told you.
Lois, tell me when to stop.
Right.
I might zip out any minute. If I do, I'll see you all later. But
miss
hopefully
you.
Right. I'm going to say some numbers. So pick out the number. Number
4.
1, number
5.
2, or number 3.
4.
But I'll go to. I bet this is going to be something really epic.
Oh, elemental. Oh, love it.
You can tell these were Dan's additions to the Jar of Doom. Those ones. Oh, he's on again.
Dan.
Oh, he's
Yeah,
amazing.
bye, Dan.
I've got an addition to the jar that I'll tell you after the show.
I think I've got the other ones. I'm trying to run these ones down before I put the other ones in. That's it. Elementals next week.
So who have we got on the show tomorrow? Or you guys? Simply Spooky.
Dan and I are talking to Ian Varro tomorrow.
See, well remembered. Woohoo!
Ian Varro, he's a nice man as well. Yeah, so it's going to be a good one. Von's talking about paganism. Good girl, Von. We should get Von on the show, you know. So coming back to paganism, let's build more communities and live in nature. Let's get rid of the materialism. Yes. We could all take our clothes off and run naked through the bogs. What do you reckon, Von? Good on elementals.
I'm glad I picked a good one. See, thank God you didn't ask Parker.
Do you know what? Elementals, there are many different types of elementals and theories with them. But the one that really blew my head off was how the elementals are all energy based and come through, what they call the ley lines.
Yep.
yeah, so yeah, well, we got a great one. Dan knows a bit about elementals. We've both had a bit of an experience with elementals. I won't lie. I won't lie to you. Not all of them are nice. You don't know what you're going to get with an elemental, so yeah, you have to be sort of very respectful, is the word. Even if they're being nasty to you, you just need to sort of take a step back and just realise what's standing in front of you before you go any further, because they can be absolutely terrifying. There was one at Castle Rising. We're talking about elementals. Tune in next week and we'll talk about it.
Yeah. So let's not give the game away.
Yeah, no. Tune in next week to find out what happened at Castle Rising.
We'll finish in a cliffhanger.
Yeah. Where's Jay gone? Jay's gone. Dan's gone. There he is.
I go toilet.
Ah. I bet that's where Dan's gone.
Money.
Yeah. Yeah. So what else can we say about paganism? Do you think paganism is a dying breed? Do you think it's something that is spoken about but not so much practiced anymore?
I
so.
know. I think in some ways, I don't think it's so much as a dying breed. I guess it's just like anything else. It can go up and down. Like you'll have a big spelly like witchcraft, and then it'll go down. It'll be the same for paganism. I think it's just depends. Like I know back in the 1960s, 70s when it was the hippie era, that's when paganism turned its rise. So it's just like anything. I don't really think it's a dying breed. I just think more people like to be more private about it. Like we're witches are more. Here we are.
In the 80s, there was a big witch revival thing, wasn't there? And everybody wanted to be a witch, and there were all the witch books out for sale, and it was at its peak back then. But I think that's come down a little bit. I think it's becoming popular again, witchcraft.
Yeah.
Where paganism seems to have taken a little bit of a hit on the whole, I think. But yeah, so yeah. One day I'll get my tattoo done just here when I'm brave enough.
What are you getting?
The satanic, the Leviathan cross. I just want here.
That is cracking. I love the Leviathan cross
because that's my symbol. I'm Pisces, and Pisces is water. Leviathan is water. So people think Leviathan is a demon. Actually, it's not. It's an element. It's an element. So my element will be up here. And
I'll get Sharpies on it for you.
Do I?
I'll get a Sharpies and that and do it for you.
Sharpies? Or Sharpies and a razor blade? Yeah, I wouldn't trust you with a razor blade.
Well, I'm hoping I'm getting a certain area tongue. My certain piercing, my tongue. I want my tongue done for my birthday.
That swells up and it gets. You won't be able to talk and eat or anything.
Oh, that'd be all right. That'd be a touch.
Swirl on it. Here's my magic wand.
I'll tell you afterwards what I'm thinking.
I think anyone these days that are a witch, unfortunately, don't practice or learn the history. Exactly my point. I mean, I back in the day, I bought so many books for research purposes only. Some books that you can't buy anymore, some books that are supposed to be taboo. But I keep every single book for research purposes. And I think people back then, when they were buying these things, they either threw them away or they give them to the charity shops, and they don't actually keep and research and recycle and go back and refer refer to. People just don't do it anymore. And I think that it's such an important part of not just your religion, but in the paranormal, things happen, the places in which they happen. People don't want to research. They don't research anymore. They don't research the building, the land it sits on, like you were saying last week, Lois, about the land that buildings sit on. People don't care about history anymore. They're more intent in destroying it, I think, more than
I think when it
learning
comes
from
to
it.
from witchcraft in particular, most people are more eager to either get. I know I've got a name off my head, but it's something I've always wanted. I think a lot of people are obsessed with, getting love spells. How can I get my ex back? Or how can I get revenge on, such and such because they've done bad to me? I think, as you say, and it's the same as paranormal, everybody forgets that there's history and everything. It's more, I'm desperate to get out and prove I've got paranormal, but there's no.
Or it's that linking with energies and reading the energy rather than doing the investigation that you're supposed to be doing. They tend to sort of get the two sort of crossed over. I mean, there's nothing wrong with reading those energies and doing that kind of an investigation, but when you're actually trying to give somebody answers, what you feel and what you're linking in with can't be proven, but your history, the land that it sits in, what happened there, how you're going to get rid of it, how can you move it on? Because honestly, when this is my belief. Okay, so if you believe in the other, then that's up to you. But my belief is you cannot get rid of an energy or a spirit by just sending it into the light. Freedom of choice, like it attracted to that place in the first time, it can come back, so again, like when I hear, this is me, when I hear these people, oh, I've sent that spirit into the light, I've crossed it over, I'm sitting there, me personally, in my head, I don't do it outwardly, I'm thinking, you liar, you're not helping these people by saying that, because when you've gone 2 minutes later, it'll be straight back.
Come back.
Because they didn't understand what they were dealing with in the first place. So, but anyway, that's me.
No, that's another story.
That is my story.
Yeah, it takes more than that to dispel an energy, because an energy is never ending. You can't just get rid of it, and you can't kill it off.
But then again, that comes down to people as well that wants reading and then thinks that you're the phone book. Can you bring this one through? Can you bring that through? And you feel like the yellow pages. You're like, what the hell?
Yeah. Let me just do a little ritual on the floor now with the black candles, and we'll summon him. We'll see if he can come.
Wait a minute, and I'll get the phone book out and I'll look for the number.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, too many people take it upon themselves to say this, and then, do you know what, Von? They can't. It doesn't mean anything in my eyes. That's my belief. It takes more than that to dispel something. Trust me. Why not send them into the dark? Why the light? They were on our land before the house was built, and right back to the 1700s was allotments. Wow. What's William saying? I watch so many entities laugh when people say they cleanse them. Exactly. William knows what I'm talking about. But it's like my house. I bought this house, and the day I moved in, there was two of us that witnessed a man walking in between us that wasn't there in the physical, and he's been here ever since I've lived here, but maybe way before. And even the land that this sits on, I sit on top of a Roman villa. And this place used to be an island. It's synonymous with a famous warrior queen, and it's a very weird place where I live. And you know what? He was here before I was here. I don't want him moved.
Kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah, he doesn't hurt me. Well, he has thrown something at me, but he didn't hurt me. And throwing something at somebody, it's just like having the kids throw something at you. He's it's not happening all the time. So he's got more right to be here than even I do, to be fair.
Excuse me.
So yeah, but that's just my belief.
Yeah.
And William loves it. He's seen it. He's
I've
seen
heard the
him.
footsteps.
The footsteps. Oh, having your name called. That's the latest thing in the house. You have your name called. You think that it's somebody in the house calling your name. Well, it's only Andy. But yeah, and a friend of mine stayed over and she thought I was calling her name. I was downstairs on the toilet doing my number twos, No, certainly weren't calling her. She heard my name up. She heard me calling her upstairs, which was interesting.
Right.
But Von says, why move them on if they are happy where they are? I have never once heard of a proof of spirits saying they want to go into the light. I do believe there are some that do want to move on. Yeah, well, you see, nobody knows. Nobody's got the proof. But if it was easy to just send everything into the light, there would be no need for what I call well, again, I suppose that's just religion. I'm getting into religion again. But I think people today are more comfortable with things that go around the house because it's now seems the norm. Whereas before, you didn't want people to laugh at you because there was something going on in your house.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Other people make stuff up just for ego. In fact, a lot of people do that for ego. Some people do it because their mental health is not right. Other people do it because they're on medication, and it's the medication that are making them perceive them to be that the house is haunted or whatever. So there's lots of different reasons why people are seeing and showing stuff, if you like. And what William says, entities aren't stuck.
No.
Yeah. But anyway, we can go on for that. But it's people's beliefs, and you know what? If you have a certain belief, that's fine. And it's great to have that belief. I would never condemn somebody for not having the same belief as me. I never mentioned it for years. Do you know what? I keep saying I'm going to get a paranormal team into the house and charge them 250 quid to come and investigate.
I would charge them £250 plus 2 fire extinguishers to dress up and put in corridors if you fancied it.
I'd have to put the cats, do something with the cats, because I got house cats and I couldn't trust people to let them out. So I'd have to sort of go away with the cats for a night. But yeah, it's
I'll look after John. I'll be in John Patrol.
John Patrol. He's settled down now, actually. I don't know if you can see him.
Oh, the baby.
He's been given time out because he's been naughty. But where's Dan gone? He's not come back, has he? He's not sent a message or anything.
He's not. And I need to leave in a couple of minutes because I'm...
Yeah. So we need to sack him, really.
Oh, don't sack him. I'll take him under my wing. Come here, Dan. Behave yourself.
To beat him.
He'll enjoy it, so I can't give him a beating.
So what are we talking about on Friday?
Remember Friday night I'm working.
Oh, that's right.
Next Friday, what did we have in mind? There was a subject that we were going to talk about. I just can't remember what. I should really write this shit down.
Should we have a night off on Friday then?
This Friday, if you guys want the night off, take the full night.
Oh, do you want us to work?
No, I'll give you a night off. That'll give you a time to catch up with whatever you have got planned with what's going on.
I've got some work that I've got to do for my boss, and get some quotes and things.
So Friday night, we're all on holiday.
We're all on having a holiday on Friday. We're all off down the pub.
He left without saying it.
That looks really spooky out my window right now, doesn't it?
It's gone really dark.
It
Like
is.
mine.
It actually looks like a painting until you see the vans going by and
Go
then
past,
you're like,
yeah. Yeah. John's I don't know what's wrong with him, but he's been like a right mummy's boy.
Maybe because the weather's changing, you never know.
We're going to have to get Von on a show as well, Von. Von, you're going to have to come on a show one night with us. You can't say no either.
We should have a frighteners one night where it's you, me, and some of the people in the chat.
Yes. Von, are you up for that?
Miss Chantel, if you're around.
She's gone quiet.
She's like that. No. I'm away next week.
So
the week after.
Yeah.
We'll know this Friday. Next Friday. Or is it the
Yeah.
Friday? 2 weeks on Friday. Didn't hear what Lois said.
For me, it's giving more understanding of spirits here. Very helpful. Ah. Well, it is, but you know, people see people. What they got to understand is these spirits or entities were once, not all, but were once living people, and they take those personalities, that very essence of that energy, their personalities, over the other side with them. And not all of them are nice spirits. For example, Fred West wasn't a nice person. Myra Hindley wasn't a nice person. Paedophiles, murderers, rapists. There are people in history that were very nice, people in history that weren't very nice. And when people say, oh, you need to show respect to spirit at all times, respect is earned. Respect is earned for the living, and the respect is earned for the dead as well. So when people say you need to respect spirit, I ask people why.
Yeah.
Because that is not correct in each and every case. And then, what was I going to say then? Provoking. When people provoke, it's how you perceive provoking to be. When you call out for spirit, is there anybody in this room with me that would like to communicate? That's provoking. People don't understand that either. So it's what people perceive things to be. Sometimes we're all taught, and a lot of books and spiritualist churches, not all are like that, that they're all taught parrot fashion. This is what it is, and it's been passed down because it's come from this person. Oh, it must be true. People don't question it, and it's like they don't even question spirit. This is what, the entities, they don't question it. They just accept it for what it is. And that's where I think people's learning and their progression sometimes falls down, because they're not asking questions. Yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
I give respect until they disrespect me. See, I give them respect depending on the situation. I've been called out to far too many horrific things that obviously didn't deserve respect. Yes, but you get teams provoking, cussing, swearing. It's disgusting. So what happens when you have spirit that are cussing and swearing and doing all that and throwing things at you? Would you still not? Again, it's how you perceive provoking. What is provoking? It's I think it's always just use common sense. I think that's where a lot of people fall down, because they don't use common sense. I always say, as in life, as in death, exactly, innit?
Yeah.
Exactly. But all right, we've come to 1:30 hour. I think we should wrap this up and find out what's happened to Dan Winter.
Yes.
I wonder
Tell
if he's
him I'm coming hunting.
I reckon he's taken a magazine to the toilet. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But definitely.
Some teams do that before they've even had contact with spirit and haven't done the history. Exactly, Von.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we will be back. Dan and I will be back tomorrow, and the lovely Lois will be modding for us. We have Ian Varro on the show. Friday night frighteners, we will have the week off. The boss has said that we can have the week off, unless Dan wants to go on and talk some nonsense about something. Then we might do it for about half hour or so. We are going to go on and make a public announcement as well sometime this week. I don't know on what pages that will happen, but I would just want to say, guys, if you get a chance, go onto YouTube and search Nightmare Soup by Nick Muley. And he's just released a whole series of spoken ghost stories. Lois has done one. I've done one. Dan's done one.
And you wouldn't recognise Dan, honest to God, jeez, wouldn't you? He sounds so posh, it's unbelievable. You wouldn't think it was Dan. I had to listen and listen.
But yeah, go on and have a look and like and subscribe, and give Nick all the support that he does deserve. But it's been a pleasure doing it for Nick, and we all had fun doing it. But go and listen to the stories. He's asked us to post the link. Oh, hang on a minute. Let's see if can you do that in the chat before we go?
Yep, I'll do that just now.
No, it's good fun. I listened to mine and I was horrified because that's just sound common.
And then you must have a lesson to it now. Like, he sounds like he's came for Chelsea.
See, Parker, when the next one comes, your name's going forward and you're going to have to do one as well.
What, read a ghost story?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just imagine I'm at the beside you and you're reading me a story. Easy. You'll be fine, lad. Nightmare Soup.
Nightmare Soup.
I'll translate that as Nightmare Soup.
That's right.
But no, he is great, and I think he's got another one in the pipeline coming up for Halloween that he will be reading himself, and then there will be another one where people are going to be reading. But he did put a lot of work into this, and it's great. They're good fun. The stories aren't very long. They're only short stories. I think mine is only about 2 minutes long. It's not even that. But Jacqueline Dixon's done one. All the hosts from the Things Network.
Rosie and everybody's done it.
Rosie. Jenny's done one. Jeremy York has done one. I think they're great. I love Jacqueline's because she does the little witchy cackle laugh at the end of hers. But yeah. So we're just going to put the link up before we go. But take care, everyone.
Yeah, bye, guys.
In the chat. Thank you for coming on and supporting us as usual. Von will be in touch with some dates for you, girl. We'll get you on a show. Yeah. And don't forget to watch Nightmare Soup.
Yep. That's a link up, guys, just now.
Okay, so take care, everyone. Enjoy Nightmare Soup, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
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 Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.